Do you know what small details of a woman's appearance men pay attention to first or very quickly when looking at a woman? No? Well, I do. So if you're not aware, keep watching the video. Today we have a sensitive topic, male appearance, what women look at first, very quickly, and what matters to them. Yes, the topic is delicate, but I want to make a very important preface and remind you. Appearance is, of course, important. It's the first thing we see when meeting someone, so of course it's a filtering factor that comes into play very, very quickly when seducing a woman. That's a fact. But don't overestimate the importance of appearance. As I've said, it's a selection factor, but it will only work against you if you, don't meet these criteria at all, or if you're, frankly speaking, Quasimodo. Otherwise, average looks or just good looks. I'll tell you all about this in detail later. So, looks that can be called simply normal, those guys about whom you usually say that they are so-so. Understand one thing, such looks are most often not a reason for rejection. Girls do indeed filter by appearance quite quickly, but this filtering is very, very rough. Therefore, when the initial stage of selection based on face and figure is passed, there is still a whole bunch of men left. In other words, do not believe that women only choose models. This is a myth. Obviously, and I've said this many times, when a woman, or indeed any person, is given power and told, choose whomever you want, however you want, then of course, she will choose the very best. That's fundamental. If you were told you could choose absolutely any woman, you wouldn't say, well, I'll take that one, the ordinary one, without any particular appeal. No, of course. You would choose those women who you find incredibly attractive, who are the absolute ideal for you. It's the same with women. If she has a choice, why would she take someone with a less advantageous appearance? Do you understand what I mean? But attention! What I'm about to say is very important. Remember that appearance alone doesn't solve absolutely everything. Yes, it's important, but then it must be combined with many other qualities. You rarely meet a woman who is looking for a man who is just handsome as a picture. Beauty is a subjective concept, isn't it? In general, before moving on to the rest, I need to tell you one more small thing. Of course, women's requirements for appearance will differ depending on their expectations. It is perfectly clear that if a woman is looking for friends with benefits, a one-night stand, or something very casual, she will be much more focused on physical criteria. In that case, she will be much, much more demanding. Well, now that's all. We can continue. So, let's begin. The first thing women notice in a man are things that are read on a subconscious level. Yes. I'll explain a bit now. Recently, I was reading an article that explained exactly what the criteria for beauty are for most people. In reality, these criteria are closely linked to the concepts of normality, and therefore to the concept of the average value, and not just some abstract average. When you are told that beauty is subjective, of course there are generally accepted canons that are widespread, but there are also more personal things. A woman will subconsciously be drawn to a man. She will consider him beautiful if he corresponds to the averaged image of men she has interacted with in her life. When I say interacted with, it can be in a friendly format or anything else. In short, those men whom she saw quite regularly, and towards whom she had a more or less warm attitude. In general, the images of men who simply appeared before her eyes often. So, a woman derives an average value from this, and she does it absolutely unconsciously. And this explains why, when some ubiquitous beauty standard appears, everyone sees it. Guys like that are everywhere. As a result, very, very many women start considering them beautiful, simply because guys like that fall into this average, which constitutes the norm for certain women. So what they look at first, they don't do it on purpose. It all happens automatically. A filter like this kicks in. If you fall into this very average, if your appearance matches the arithmetic mean of those she has met in life, then you have a better chance of appealing to her, and there's nothing you or she can do about it. The second thing women look at are very general things. Before getting into details, she of course looks at how you carry yourself and your body language. In other words, are you confident? Do you exude through your body language the qualities she likes? And most often, women are impressed by confident men, those who are firmly on their feet, and so on. Again, there's no accounting for taste, but your body language should convey what she likes. Your demeanor should broadcast what she finds appealing. Your style should simply align with what she finds pleasant to see. Clothing style can also be included here. Why not? Obviously, in the eyes of many women, this can be important. These are truly the things that matter to her, including depending on her own style. The third detail of appearance that women pay attention to first is how you take care of yourself. I'm not saying you need to be a metrosexual, although some people like that too, it doesn't matter. I'm more about whether a woman will see how much you respect your own body and whether you strive to please others. It's very important for a woman to see that you are neat. Understand? I would say this is the absolute foundation, but it's also important for her to see that you make a certain effort to please others and yourself too. Because very often, a man who makes such efforts is a man who knows how to assert himself. He can express himself through his style, but it also indicates that he knows his worth and takes care of himself. And women love men who are capable of taking care of themselves. After all, a man who is capable of taking care of himself can, in the long run, take care of his woman as well. Fourth, what really comes up very often, and this time it is confirmed by scientific research, is that women, they don't always admit it, although if you get them talking openly, their tongues loosen quite easily. So women always pay attention to markers of masculinity, and here there are several, let's say, attributes that allow a woman to consider a man more or less masculine. For many women, masculinity, if it's not tied to the issues of self-confidence I discussed earlier, is very often associated with protection. Your instinct to protect, your readiness to guard a lady, is expressed, among other things, through your physique and how you present your body, and also through what you do with your body. Nowadays, this is also expressed through muscles, and I'll let you in on a little secret. Between us, the most popular muscles among women are usually the abs, those six-packs. Chest muscles are also highly valued. Biceps, strong sinewy forearms. You get it. These are the things women look at very often. Forearms, by the way, are often emphasized by watches. I was just talking to you about style earlier. For some women, this is also a very important detail. In general, these are, so to speak, details, but they are what come up most often. There are a bunch of other theories about women preferring a different physique and so on. Of course, we are now talking about general markers of masculinity, which will manifest in different things for different women. If before I talked about self-confidence, then now, specifically in this point, I am talking about criteria for protection. And among the traditional criteria of masculinity, we also have body hair. Yes, hair. This doesn't necessarily mean a woman wants a bear-like man. Again, there's no accounting for taste. Everyone has different preferences, but often hair coverage is a good indicator for women. Usually we're talking about a beard, mustache, or something similar, and if it's also well-groomed, that's even better. But at this particular moment, I still want to reassure you. These are just individual qualities. This doesn't mean that women will demand absolutely this entire set that I am listing today. It simply means that such things act as a catalyst. They help, so to speak, to be noticed, to attract a woman's gaze, to pique their interest, to arouse them, and so on. We understand that this is just one of the elements. It doesn't solve absolutely everything. Fifth, the fifth physical detail of appearance that women look at very, very carefully. In fact, there are two of them, and both are on a man's face. It's the eyes and the lips. No, this is not nonsense. And these are not just words from women who say, "Oh, I look at that first," just to appear modest. This is the truth, and if they look at it, it's for very good reasons. Firstly, it can simply be beautiful, right? A beautiful look is truly very attractive, but also because it is through these facial features that we communicate the most. They will look into your eyes and see your soul through them. They will look at the lower part of your face, at your smile, and so on. Essentially, they are looking at how congruent you are, that is, put simply, how sincere you are. Through your gaze and your lips, they will be able to read many hidden signals and feel much closer to you. This is precisely how you transmit a lot of positive things, your good mood, confidence, benevolence. All these qualities are conveyed right here. Therefore, it is not at all surprising that women pay attention to these details, and it's not just about aesthetics. Of course, that also plays a role, but also because they say a lot about your personality. Sixth, women primarily look at men's hands. Apparently, hands say a lot about a man. Well, and about a bunch of other things too. It can be very sexy. Big hands, you know, hands that have done physical work, or conversely, well-groomed hands. It doesn't matter. Women attach great importance to such details. I added this point because these are the results of surveys. I haven't found any particularly reliable scientific research on this matter. If you have any, please share. So I'm sharing this simply for your personal curiosity, and what you do with this information is up to you. Hands and buttocks. Women quite readily admit that they look at your rear end, gentlemen. And yes, a man with a nice butt can truly drive many women crazy. But I repeat, these last 2 points are debatable. They are only here because they most often come up in surveys. But again, I haven't found anything truly concrete on this topic, so take it with a grain of salt. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, learned a couple of new things, and found it interesting. It serves as a supplement to the material you may have already seen some time ago. If you have anything to add, if you want to share stories or personal experiences, feel free to write in the comments. But if you want to write that, in your opinion, women primarily look at the thickness of a wallet, please refrain. We've already discussed this, and frankly, I'm tired of responding to such comments, so refrain. Or do it exclusively in the form of a joke, and only like that. Please, I really ask you. In short, that's all. Thank you for staying with me until the very end. See you soon. Bye, everyone.